Hi everybody and welcome to Heel Heat. My name is George Coles, and on this episode we're going to review Night 1 of WrestleMania. WrestleMania 38 that is. And if you watch my prediction show, as I go along, I'm also going to tell you what I had right and wrong. If you haven't seen any of these before, we rate everything on a 1 to 5 scale, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. Let's jump right in. First match of the evening for the Smackdown Tag Team Championship. We get the Usos defending against Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boogs. At first, Shinsuke and Boogs looked awesome in their gear, their Mike's Hard Lemonade attire. Oh, that was good. I thought that was great. Little unfortunate happening. Boogs suffered a quad injury. I believe what I heard was, and I'm just recording this just after the show, I believe the last thing I heard was he blew his quad out, which hopefully he has a speedy recovery. I don't think this quite got to be what it should have been because of that. Usos pick up the win here. I think that was going to be the outcome, but I think they had to speed it up a little bit. I'm going to give this one a 3. I don't want to knock it off because Boogs got hurt. That's the reason the match wasn't as good as it could have been. I did pick the match correctly. I did pick the Usos to win, so I'm 1-0. But I give the match a 3. Like I said, I thought it would have been a good match. I don't want to knock it down because of an injury. That being said, going into our next match of the evening, Drew McIntyre versus Baron Corbin. I like this match a lot. It kind of reminded me, and I didn't have to be reminded, but it felt Baron Corbin, or Happy Corbin now, felt more important in this match than he's felt for a long while. And this was a really, really solid match. Drew McIntyre is the first person that ends up kicking out at the end of days. McIntyre picks up the win in the match. Afterwards, you see him try to swing the sword at Madcap Moss, and he ends up cutting the top in the middle rope. I'm going to give this match a 4. I thought it was really solid. I did also pick this correctly, so I'm jumping in right off the bat, 2-0. Very happy about my predictions so far. Again, I thought this was a really good match. I enjoyed both of these guys, and I wish they would use Corbin in a better role, because when he's given an opportunity, more often than not, the guy knocks it out of the park. Now, coming from that, we get our Night 1 celebrity match. Rey and Dominic Mysterio coming out in very much the Art Bar and Eddie Guerrero inspired gear versus The Miz and Logan Paul. Sorry, I get them too confused, but they're brothers, so hey. This was a solid match. Logan Paul was a lot better than he deserved to be. He kind of gets a Bad Bunny award for this, or the Stephen Amell award for this, because he shouldn't be that good of a wrestler. I mean, not for nothing, there's wrestlers I've seen on shows this weekend that aren't as good as Logan Paul was in this match. And yeah, I somewhat attribute it to he's working with a pro like The Miz, and he's working against a legend like Mysterio. But still, he was really solid. He held up his part. Surprisingly, to my surprise, The Miz and Logan Paul pick up the win here. I did pick that one wrong, so I'm 2-1 on the picks. After the match, we see The Miz kind of turn on Logan Paul. So it'll be kind of cool to see if they do that at Backlash, or if they keep that for a SummerSlam match. But I think that I'd like to see Logan Paul do a little bit more in wrestling. I don't care for him as an influencer or an entertainer, but as a heel wrestler, he's got it down. I'm going to give this match a 4. Again, I thought it was really solid. Afterwards, we get the first of many, I guess, stalling parts of the show. We get Stephanie McMahon coming out to officially announce that they've signed Gable Steveson, which I thought they'd done already. I mean, he was already drafted, so isn't it obvious that he signed if he was drafted? Just my opinion. Anyway, so they had that segment there. Afterwards, we get what I thought was probably the match of the night. And I get now why, but at the time I wasn't understanding why it wasn't the main event. Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair. This match was friggin' awesome. If I didn't see the FTR Briscoes match from last night at the time of the recording, this would have been the match of the weekend. And it's almost as good as this. These two tore it up. I thought this was awesome. Bianca took it to a different level. Becky continued on the highest level that she's been on. Bianca is on a very high level, but both of them stepped up to an even higher level, if that makes any sense, than where they have been in the past. This was a solid match. A lot of back and forth, a lot of question. It made you question who's going to win. Really great match. Bianca Belair picks up the win here. Wins the Raw Women's title off of Becky, kind of making good for SummerSlam. I did pick this correctly, so I'm now 3-1 on the night. I'm giving this a solid 5. I thought it was a really good match. Like I said, best match of the night for me. I really enjoyed this. Now next up we have Seth Rollins versus Vince McMahon's mystery opponent. And not only do we get Cody Rhodes, but we get full Homelander gear, AEW theme, Cody Elevator, AEW Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare. Everything about him was his AEW presentation, which is kind of awesome that they're willing to do that. And they're willing to bring him in and treat him like a big star, because he did leave WWE and make himself into a big star. This was a fantastic match. I enjoyed what they did here. I thought it was awesome. Seth Rollins is a great wrestler, so is Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes is one of my personal favorites. I know he's not everybody likes him. I personally do enjoy him. If you don't, I understand. I thought this was a really awesome match. It was pretty obvious Cody's going to win this. I mean, he spammed the crossroads at the end, even did the bionic elbow. I did pick this correctly, so I'm now 4-1 on the night. I'm going to give this match another 5. I thought it was awesome. I thought it was a great showing. I really enjoyed this. Cody Rhodes on his debut was a bigger star than he ever was in WWE. And dare I say, he was bigger than he was ever going to be in AEW even. Because I don't think, and I hate to say it like this, I know a lot is said about the ratings and how many people watch. And I don't care about that. I really don't. Some of my favorite shows are some of the least watched ones. But more eyes were on Cody, and he felt like he was in a more prominent position on WrestleMania than he felt like he's been in AEW for a long time. So I do think he made a good decision for his own career, even though I don't like it because I'm not as big of a fan of the WWE product right now. And I don't hate WWE, don't get that wrong. This isn't one of those us versus them mentality. I enjoy all of wrestling. I just think that WWE going into this has been in a really far down slope. Now, coming off of night 1, and I'll get into that more here in a bit, I think they're going back into the right direction. Again, I'm at 4-1. I gave that match a 5. I thought it was awesome. Next up, we get the obligatory show the Hall of Fame people on the stage. Again, there was a lot of stalling and a lot of packages. Drew cutting the ropes made a stall, which I'll talk about that at the end when I do a recap, because I do believe that all of this led to something not happening. Next, we get Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey for the Smackdown Women's title. I would have liked to have seen them put one of the women's... I would have liked to have switched one of these two women's matches out with the women's tag team match and had a main women's title on each night of the card. A little bit nitpicking. I thought this was an okay match. To me, I would have flipped this with Becky and Bianca because Becky and Bianca killed it. I may have even put Cody and Seth above this because Cody and Seth killed it. I thought this was okay. I've seen them both have better matches. Solid match, don't get me wrong. I did end up picking this wrong because Charlotte Flair won. So now I'm at 4-2, 4 right, 2 wrong. Again, Charlotte picked up the win here. I'm giving the match a solid 4. I thought it was good. After seeing the 2 matches before and the match after this, it felt like it was weirdly placed. And again, I would have liked to see them put the Smackdown Women's Championship on one show and the Raw Women's Championship on another. Now, coming from that, we go right into the main event, or the main event segment, as they said it was going to be. The KO show with Kevin Owens interviewing Steve Austin. We get some good back and forth. Steve doesn't say much of anything. We get Steve Austin riding around on his four-wheeler. KO finally says, Owens says, I tricked you. I really wanted you here so we could have a no-holds-barred match. Austin agrees. A ref comes running down. And oh my God. There is no reason for this match to have been as good as it was. Steve Austin has not wrestled a match in 19 years, and this is very much kudos on who Steve Austin is and how they worked this match. Kudos to Kevin Owens for being the guy that, even though he's the unsung hero here, you kind of know that he had to carry a lot of the heavy weight in this because he's wrestling an older guy who's had neck, back, and knee injuries, and everybody knows that. And this was a really, really solid Steve Austin match. It was a brawl. It was very entertaining. There was a lot of elements. It wasn't, Omega versus Okada, but it was fun. This, when people talk about the Attitude Era, and they talk about how much fun it used to be to watch wrestling, this is what they're talking about. Matches like this. Yes, they had the Kurt Angle matches, which were great too, and they were fun as well. But matches like this that were chaotic, that went all over the place, that Steve Austin was he's one of the most magnetic performers that wrestling's ever seen. I mean, he's on the very short list of top guys. I mean, it's like him, Flair, Bruno, Hogan. There's not many people up in the rarefied air that Steve Austin's been in. This match was just amazing. I thought it was awesome. I didn't pick it because I did say on the preview that if they do something, I would think it would be more like Stunner and then a pin, kind of like what The Rock did with the Wyatt family a couple of years ago. Austin picks up the win here. I can't give it a 5. I'm giving it a special rating for this. Just know that it's getting a 5 actually, but just because of what it is, I'm giving it a 3/16. And you understand why. I don't want to give it a 5. I'm giving it a 3/16 in respect for Austin. And God, what a hell of a match. I hope, and maybe this is me just being me and being selfish, I hope this is it. I don't want to see him on a Saudi show. Don't tarnish it. You aren't going to find another match better than what you did here. There's very few wrestlers in the WWE that are going to match up with you as well as Kevin Owens did here. Let this be it. Let your legacy stand because you're still one of the greats of all time. Coming off of that, we did have the Ridge Holland and Sheamus versus New Day match. I've seen a couple different things that either it got bumped off of the night or it was never scheduled to be on night 1. I don't know, everything I seen leaning into this said it was going to be on night 1, so I don't know. I do know that they had a 2-hour pre-show with not one match on it that I sat through, and I was expecting something on the damn pre-show. So maybe tomorrow they'll give us a match on the pre-show, and that's where it'll be bumped to. I hate that the New Day and I hate that Sheamus and Ridge Holland have to be bumped to pre-show. Maybe they'll bump something else and put them on the main card. The timing, the incessant recaps, and maybe this was a plan all along. I don't know if it was or not. I really don't. But I think you could have cut some of the recaps out and put that match on here. We could have done without the Stephanie Gable Stevenson thing. We could have saved that for Raw. Just saying. To me, I would have liked to see the match on here. Minor gripe. To me, this is the best WrestleMania over the last few years at least, and probably, I would say probably the best in at least 5 to 6 years, if not more. It was a really good, solid match. This night, now I don't know how night 2 is going to be. Night 2 can ruin it. Night 2 can be terrible. But night 2 has a lot to live up to. Night 1 was amazing. A really great showing. I went 4-2 on my predictions for the night. I don't want to say I went 5-2 because I said if there was a match, Austin would win. But, you know, I didn't officially pick it. Went 4-2 on the night. I did pretty well. I think I did good with my predictions. Thought the card was good itself. It was fun. Like I said, it was what we like to see in wrestling. I'm giving the night itself, night 1 for WrestleMania, I'm giving it a 5. Night 2, you have a lot to live up to, and hopefully you do. Hopefully night 2 is not boring, but I don't know I don't see how they're going to pull it off. There is the Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar match, which should be awesome. There are some matches tomorrow that are going to be really good, but you're not going to have the surprises like Cody Rhodes or Steve Austin wrestling a match. So, I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully they can keep up with it. With that being said, make sure you smash the like button, comment, share. If you haven't and you like what I'm doing here, hit that subscribe button if you don't mind, please, on the way out. And if you watch this far, I know you've enjoyed this video. I would say give me a hell yeah, but I believe that YouTube would flag that. So if you watch this far, we're going to go with another Steve Austin trope. Give me a what in the comments if you watch it to the end. What? I say give me a what in the comments. What? Give me a what in the comments. Anyway, my name is George Coles, and this has been my review of WrestleMania 38 Night 1.